Okay, this is film review for the UNCW game at Carolina Kickoff. Um, we'll jump right into it. I think this is just an abbreviated uh, clip of the game. I don't think this is the full game. This is just a first quick point. Nothing too much to analyze here. I think it's just a two-throw score. As soon as the throw kind of goes off, Jada's sort of, he's with his guy pretty well. The cut's not down the middle of the field, so this is kind of, as a defense, this is kind of what we want. I think he catches it right at the cone. Jada's pretty close to him. Yeah, he catches it a foot from out of bounds, so defensively we can kind of live with that. Go to the next point. We're receiving, again, I don't know if that's the beginning of the game or halfway through. I don't know if this is full game. Starting around the brick, horizontal. I think that's Mike cutting across. UNCW is doing a pretty good job. This handler's kind of in the lane, preventing that throw from Mike. You can see how this guy's off Bender, staying in the lane, kind of allowing the throw to Bender, realizing a throw here hurts more than a throw to Bender on the sideline. I guess we're going to vert now. Simple backfield turn. I think Luke goes lefty here. If we can just throw a little easy backhand. Yeah, kind of just throws it before he looks at Bender. Having good lefty throws is definitely a valuable tool to have, but when push comes to shove, I'd like to just throw, I think a righty backhand here maybe isn't a turnover. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Those lefty throws can be a good thing to have, but they can also create turnovers. You can tell right away they have very little intention of getting it here. He's already addressing the dump. They're realizing getting it to the middle of the field is kind of their priority. Kevin does a pretty good job of sealing. Let's see if we can force him back into this area. A little awkward give and go. Almost got a block there. Yeah, kind of awkward, but it worked. This just shows you how, you know, quick give and goes up the foresight can be tough to defend. Um, Kind of a weird little score there, though. So down one break. Out of bounds pull. Again, we'll see. Looks like we'll see here him playing off the handler. This seems to be a common theme with not only them, but a lot of people in the region. This looks like Prez. Nice little butterfly cut. If we can, I'd like to come more. Oh no, that was fine. Defender does a pretty good job of not allowing the deep throw. Working up the break side. This is always good. Ideally, we'd maybe like, I think this is Luke. We'd maybe like to see Luke come out here at least to give an option. Even if Luke comes out here and Gavin doesn't hit him, now we have, a dump in this area. If the stall gets to 4 or 5, then maybe Luke can come negative 45. But I maybe would have liked to see Luke time a cut here, drive out to the space, and now we're, having it here, attacking the other side of the field. Around backhand from Gavin. Yeah, see, that's, oof. Gavin does a pretty good job sealing his person, wanting to get. You can see how Gavin's driving out almost towards the observer. So Luke, I don't know the wind conditions, but Luke maybe just needs to put a little bit further throughout here because it looks like Gavin does create separation. We're kind of fortunate to maintain the disc there. We've got this like 4 or 5 passes in a row. We've been stuck in this area, right? We've been trying to. Each thrower has been looking to go downfield, down the break side, which is definitely a good thing to do. But you never really want more than about three throws in one area. So no matter where it is on the field. So hopefully in the next throw or two we can maybe move it to the other half of the field. Good break throw. There's that throw going cross field. Yeah. So you can see. Let's watch Prez here. Watch Prez how he's going down the middle of the field. He's not really making a cut. He's not really making a decision. His eyes are with Mike, and they kind of have this non-communication uh, you know look, saying, "Hey, I'm sealing my guy." As soon as you throw it out into the four side area, so like throw goes, yeah, Perez almost cuts right when Mike's throwing it. That's just a good little throw your guy open type of situation. But it was good that we finally switched the sides of the field. They come out and horizontal. Um, ooh, nice. This is great. So Achilles is guarding this guy, right? So Achilles doesn't need to be tight with him, right? If they throw this and lose 15, 20 yards, like that's a win for us, right? So Achilles does a pretty good job here and almost gets a block. He could almost even come back here and like officially say, "Hey, I'm poaching my guy." A second or two after that, I think this is Diego or whatever his name is. He would probably hit the dump here and they lose a couple yards, but this is pretty good by Achilles not guarding that guy in negative 15 yard space, and he almost gets a block. Looks like we're forced flick. This is definitely into the game, I think, because Prez and Gavin are on going playing a D point, and I think maybe even Mike switching over to D. We rarely do that this early in the game, so I assume this is maybe a couple points from half. Sorry, I rewinded it. Didn't mean to. So we're forced flick here. Yeah, you can see a nice, good deep cut driving. Dan plays pretty good D. Maybe Dan could be a tiny bit closer to him, but I actually like where Dan is. Um, yeah, and it's a contested catch. You can see how the thrower throws right when that cutter comes in. That's pretty good D and slightly better. Um, ooh, Achilles takes a big chance here. Let's see what he saw. Okay, so there are times, let's back it up. All right, so Achilles is starting his poach now. Okay, so Achilles is guarding this guy. Let's say they were in a vertical stack, more better formed, and a cut is coming under like really shallow, shallow meaning like towards the middle of the field. Let's say the cut was going to be rewarded here. If Achilles realizes his guy's not going to be active for 3, 4 seconds, this could be a good idea, right? He's taking away a threat, hoping that he can get a poach block, or hoping this guy doesn't see it, and hoping he can't, trusting the mark, forcing flick, we can't get that back in around. But the flaw in what Achilles does here, big time, is there's really no threat, right? Achilles ran out into the lane to guard nobody, right? Um, who did he come out here to guard, right? And the thrower quickly saw, like, hey, like he's there. There's got to be someone open. Um, they get that inside throw, and then I wish I could. I'll try to pause it right when that guy's catching it. Yeah, so like, guy catches it. Where should the mark be? Right here, forcing flick. Where is the mark? Way over there. So again, like, I don't want everyone to poach. We have a couple players on the team, Achilles included, that at times are pretty good at it, but poach to take something away. Achilles ran his butt over here to poach, really nothing developing. And if he would have looked downfield while he was starting his poach, he would have noticed, like, okay, nothing's forming. All I am doing is running away from the person I should be guarding. So this guy has it. I mean, this should be a one. I think I already saw where they don't score immediately, but this should be a one score or one throw score, because I mean, look where all of the defenders are, and look where I mean, this is this is bad news bears for us. So yeah, he should milk that. Hopefully we can get a block, but so they're in red zone. Oh yeah, this is the one where it pops up and the guy calls a foul. Looks like a good um, non-foul. But yeah, I think they go to the observers and they realize he might have been calling a foul on the second attempt. They say it was over his head. But yeah, that goes back. We'll go back and pick on them, right? As soon as this guy gets it here, there are some times when you want to, just take whatever you can get and maybe hit, the next pass here or here, like real shallow. But like if you're in this situation and it's this bad, or like, they need to try to milk this. I mean, they have, if they could go back and do this again, I mean, they have to score on this throw. Um, the fact that they didn't score it here is terrible on them, slightly good on us for recovering, but we are very fortunate that that did not result in a one throw score from them. I think the disc went out of bounds. Not sure what. Yeah, I think someone picked up the disc or something. So we're starting an avert. Nice good under from Mike. Forcing flick. And I think Dan catches us. Everyone celebrates, so I'm assuming he caught it. Let's just make sure. So yeah, Dan or Mike's just this guy's backing him. Mike just nice and easy under, right? Pretty easy. These guys don't poach off. Um, Not the worst decision for that deep cut. Again, the good part of it, while Dan is not, let's call this blue line going forward, the middle of the field. While Dan isn't going down the middle, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world because odds are Mike's not going to throw it because they're force flick and because they're so close to the side. We're so close to the sideline. He's going to be pretty flat here because his butt's trying to be to this back cone. Um, Dan knows or should know that, like, hey, if Alex goes, it's not going to be here. It's either going to be middle or over here. So, all that being said, Dan going down this part of the field is actually probably the best thing he could have done. He's going down with his eyes to where if Mike does give a big pump fake, he can come back under. This is pretty good execution. I mean, Dan's running the whole way, looking back at Mike, which is pretty hard to do. And then the second the disc goes up, he goes and makes a play. Um, yeah, pretty good execution. So that's a break. We're back even according to what the film we do have. Different camera angle now. Good pull coverage, right? They they're not even, let's say, I think assume this is kind of the brick. That's pretty good pull and pull coverage. Okay, so this Achilles poaches again. This is a better poach, right? He's at least he's poaching. Like this guy's pivoting around to throw a backhand. Like this is, it's not the worst thing in the world if he gets it here because they've only gained a couple yards. Yes, they've gone to the break side, but at least Achilles is poaching to something, to take away something. Not like earlier where he was poaching to just take away nothing. And it's also, maybe we can go back and watch it, but I think the stall's getting kind of high. So a lot of times if the stall is, let's see, I'll count it out in a second. A lot of times it's good to poach if it's like a stall 7, 8, or 9 because this thrower knows the count's getting high and he'll hit this backhand around knowing like, hey, I don't have much time. This is kind of my last option to throw or not throw. So I'm going to throw this regardless of the risk level. So we'll count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll call it 5. And I think I was late on starting. So yeah, that's a stall 7 poach. Um, and then Achilles recovers. No harm, no foul. Again, Achilles poaches out to the lane. He needs to seal this. Good. Yeah, so that we can live with that, right? It's a break throw, but they didn't really gain much yards. We don't love that because again, we want them to be on the force side, not the break side. Break side's a lot harder to guard, but um, they're kind of in a vert. Evan's pretty good at poaching as well. Evan could almost, you can see Evan in the last film study we did. I think Evan got 1 or 2 poach blocks. You can almost see him guarding him, but also looking with his eyes. I think if Evan is a tiny bit more alert, you don't want to get into a dangerous play situation, but I think Evan's almost about to make this play. And then, yeah, you can see Evan kind of lean. I won't go back, but if you want to go back, you can see Evan start to lean. I think a travel was called. Um, yeah, you can see Evan take a step. Yeah, oh yeah, travel was called on this guy. Curving, maybe changing directions. I think that there was turnover on this next throw. Um, yeah, they go back. Yeah, Evan does a good job saying, "Hey, you had, you were kind of open." Gives him the space. I think Achilles. They throw it to the dump and it's a turnover. Or watch Achilles on the dump. Yeah, that's pretty good coverage, right? He puts out his left hand, takes away that. Yeah, that's a pretty good dump D, right? Um, this proves that me especially lately. I'm always telling how we need to start triangulating. This proves while I do want a lot of us to start triangulating, meaning know where your person is and know where the disc is at the same time. This is a good example where in small spaces, in the dump situation, you can get away with just um, looking at your guy and not really knowing where the disc is because you know where the disc is, right? So once stall three hits, there's probably people on the sideline saying, Achilles, you're hot, hot, hot. This is a good situation where you can get away playing pretty good defense while just staring at your guy, and then you just try to mirror his image and stay close. All right, nice give and go by Evan. Right, he just throws and goes. Right, Marks doesn't do anything bad. He's just out of position again. Eho, yep, these are probably two of our top couple guys. Yeah, great vision, great throw. I think he called. Oh, this is that crap. This is all right. We'll talk about this. He calls a travel here. You can even see like everyone stops. Like, these people stop because the travel's heard, and he doesn't travel. Let's watch. You can watch his fit. This is not a travel. It looks like a travel, sort of, but that's just not a good call. And then we turn it over here. I think it should go back because the travel calls because you always plus ones. I'm not sure. We had to look at the rules. So it was thrown to Casper. Travel was on Evan. I'm assuming it was a travel. I'm pretty sure, confident. I think it should go back to Evan. I don't. Observers were there, so hopefully they were on top of things. But it's also kind of crappy on. I'm all assuming I wasn't there, but it's kind. I'm just assuming a lot of things here, but it's kind of crappy on the guy on the travel because not that he called it a travel, but it's crappy that he kind of calls it, and then as soon as he realizes it's a turn, you can even see this guy. I don't know if this is a trainee or like an observer that knows what he's doing. Again, I could be wrong, and I probably am wrong, but I think that should go back to us. I think that goes back to Evan because it was completed to Casper. I don't think the turnover that Casper threw has anything to do with it. Maybe that's a rule to look up. Anyways, I wish we had that turnover on film. Pick was called. Eho. Let's see. Let's do right when the. Yes, so they're definitely within. He's definitely within 10. Yeah, that's a good pick call, and I think it's a turnover. Yeah, good pick call. The one small thing I'll say, right? Um, it's good pick call. It's legal. He was in within 10. Um, I'm not saying to call this, but like, let's say he late. I mean, he went full bore, and Eho's fast, right? I'm not saying Eho's slow, but this guy goes full bore, and like, let's say he laid out and grabbed it. Like, it's probably going back 99% of the time, but like 1% of us could say like, hey, I know I was picked, but like he should probably keep it. Like I don't think Eho, the guy had, let's say, a step or two on Eho. I don't think Eho's going to catch up that step or two. He might catch up the step or two, but is Eho going to lay out past the guy and block it with it coming in on that angle? I, as a spectator, don't think so. So I know he didn't catch it, but if he lays out and gets a fingertip on it and catches it, again, there's no harm sending it back. There's no bad sportsmanship sending it back, but like an amazing sportsmanship thing would be like, hey, like it's staying with you. You don't really see that often, but yeah. All right, so we pick it up, kind of fast break, kind of a green light situation. We're pretty, I don't mind this fast break, but you can see, I mean, the front of our stack is, I'm going off, I'm assuming these white lines are about 20 yards apart when I make these assumptions, but we can see how the front of our stack's a good 20, 25 yards downfield. Our five is almost 40. Uh, while I don't mind the green light here, our stack structure is way deep. Let's see if that ends up, you know, backfiring. Yeah, I mean it literally backfires, right? So let's say we're 5, 10 yards shallower, right? We do everything the same. This cut is, let's see, he throws it from about the white, just past the white, right? So that's a 25-yard throw. If we wait a couple seconds to pick it up and we do everything the same, and we start 5, 10 yards closer, now Casper's catching it here. Long story short, we don't have a turnover there. We, instead of throwing a 25-yard throw, which is, medium difficulty, we're throwing a 15-yard throw, an 18-yard throw, where it's slightly easier. And I mean, that was very close to being completed. Um, it was kind of almost like a yellow light situation. Little give and go. Evan shells out on the fake, and then this guy does a great job, right? This guy immediately says, "Where's my mark?" He's on the ground. Okay, and think about it, this guy's not really open. Dan's kind of in pretty good position. He just kind of, I think he just kind of throws him open. Yeah, and then it should be floodgates. The guy throws a big fake, right? If you're not going to throw it, what do we always talk about? If you're not going to throw it, throw a big fake. Look where Dan goes. So like, again, hypothetically, you always want to do these assuming certain things. He throws a very good timed fake. Dan has to respect it because he has to stop the break side. If there's a give and go here, as fast as Dan is, if there's a give and go here, this guy should be able to burn up line. He give goes. TD came in. Yeah, I don't mind that poach, right? So some teams, I don't know if they're officially doing this or just doing it on accident. Some teams do. So you have handler, a dump. Some teams even bring back a second dump, almost like a horizontal three handlers. Some teams do where you have one or two, maybe even three people down the middle, and then you put one off-ender back cone, one off-ender back cone. I think that's kind of what they're trying to do here. Um, if that ever happens, you don't want to be right on their hip because then you're not really doing anything. So I think TD does the right thing, right? He's kind of guarding that guy and kind of coming into the space. If TD could delay it just a little bit, TD comes in a little too early, kind of almost into this space, leaving this guy wide open. If TD stays there, this guy appears to be guarded, and then he can wait, and then as soon as like the decision to either hit this guy or not hit this guy is made, then he can go. If you watch, he just goes, in my opinion, just a tiny bit too early. Um, and then the guy is able to see the poach. Yeah. He just needs to wait a little bit longer. The other thing we could do is whoever was that, EJ? This is getting nitpicky and might not even be right. It might be Achilles. Achilles could also be kind of like here on the four side, knowing that at the time we have Eho on the. I know this is going to change, but if Achilles is here, he knows he has help if his guy randomly goes into that hammer space. If Achilles is kind of here, maybe this guy looks less open, and maybe he can sprint over there when the disc goes up. But again, that's a small little win, right? We made them do something unconventional. We made them hit a guy in the back foot of the end zone, right? We're not gonna. Teams are gonna score on us. We want them to kind of score in weird ways and towing the line and throwing up, scoobers and hammers and weird stuff. And we kind of had that happen there. I think that's just a pick. I think it's on Mike. Yeah, good call. Coming in on probably one or two or three, something low. Force and flick, but he's pretty flat, so we should be able to get. Yep, Should be able to get a breakthrough off. God, look at this huge. This is a Prez is really good at this because he's tall and long legs, and he normally you have a tall guy on you who's and normally tall people are a little slower. So Prez is going to be doing this for the next hopefully 2.5 3 years. But look at this massive under Prez gets right, and a lot of it is him just using his eyes. Right, he watch him go deep. Right, he looks back, realizes the disc is over here. A lot of people get here, they don't look, right? And they come under on this side, thinking the disc is either in the middle or on the foreside, because a lot of times the disc is in the middle or on the foreside. A lot of people go deep like Prez does it, they don't look, and then they come under here, they're open, but it's like, wow, if you would have just known the disc is on the break side, you could have gone break side like Prez does. Just that little bit of vision allows us to get a huge 20, 25 yard gainer. Um, yeah, nice. Let's see. Little, basically just a butterfly by Mike. I would have liked to see him draw this guy in a little bit more. All right, pausing right when the decision is being made. I know it works out, and I know this is Mike, who's one of our better, quicker, deep threats. I don't know who this guy is, so like maybe this guy's a chump, right? And it's a question, a good decision. But on paper, from what I can see, not the best of decisions, right? This guy is even, maybe even on top of him on the foreside. Um, yes, Mike outruns it, but I mean, anyone at home watching this like me can see how this could have easily gone not our way. Um, the other adjustment, Prez could put the disc here. You know, think about it like Mike has the advantage on this part of the field. I know that's not a huge chunk of the field, but like if we put it here, Mike's going to get to this area quicker than his guy. If hypothetically, let's say the disc was at this cone, arrived at this cone, this guy's already got a head start. So I think the disc ends up being caught like right here. I mean, you can already see that guy's closer. So um, maybe Perez pump fake this next time, and if you do throw it, maybe put it kind of over here to where Mike, you know, has a little bit easier to play on the disc, but still a pretty good catch. But y'all saw what it was. I mean, it's just a butterfly. Once you start looking for them, they're everywhere. Little break, kind of like we do. Little bone. This guy he could have drove deep to get more than 6 yards. Ooh. Let's see how this guy. Ooh, just a really good cut, right? He threatens deep, takes 2 steps under. Dan bites. I mean, that's just really good cutting, right? The good thing Dan's doing, you can kind of see how. We'll zoom in. You can kind of see how Dan's watching, right? Um, at the last second, Dan kind of loses where his guy is. Let's see if he catch. I think he catches up. Yeah, this is the one that goes out the back. I've watched this game from our camera, which is set up like right there. Um, watch it one last time. But yeah, I mean, you can see if, like, put yourself in that cutter's shoes. You can see how if you can make one or two strong moves. I mean, look at all this space. Like again, the fact that this did not work out for them is very fortunate for us. Dan ends up making up the ground and coming close to the jump ball. But I mean, this should be a score. Really, really good teams are going to score this more times than not because this throw could go anywhere. But it hangs and allows Dan to catch up and make the catch very difficult. Again, you can see how they're almost giving up this dump throw. So ideally, instead of hitting it here and not move, we basically haven't moved it much horizontally and we've gone backwards. Once we realize this guy is poaching, I think this is EJ maybe. So that's a guess. I might be wrong. I'd like to see once you see this dump defenders coming out and kind of clogging. I'd love to see this person drift out kind of over here, maybe even come flat where you're not losing yards. But if we hit here, now we've opened up a new part of the field as changing our point of attack. Oh yeah, it sort of ends up happening, right? Thank you. I think that is EJ. Yeah. Again, just maybe even wider, right? It's good that we did that. It's good that we saw that, but maybe even a couple yards more couldn't hurt. I like those pump fakes. See, that's where, so pump fake here, right when TD catches us, just throw a little flick pump fake. It's going to move that mark even more. And it might, yeah, think about it. If you throw that pump fake, the timing might be a little bit off for this example, but if you throw that tiny little pump fake, he's going to move out even more. He's already kind of not in your way, but every little 5, 10, 20% advantages we can get, they all add up to success. If you pump fake there, if you have a habit of doing that, now it looks like Dan going down the middle. I mean, he's just screaming for this backhand hook to go off. If you would have thrown that flick pump fake, right with him right here, he's probably not going to get a block, but you're kind of thinking like, oh, like this backhand huck, he's kind of sort of in my way. If he's here, or here, now he's like definitely not in your way, and we might throw this huck to Dan. It's those little things. Again, yes, yeah, he's again. Evan does a lot of good things a lot of times, right? See this little fake? Look where the mark moved, right? And I probably didn't even pause it perfectly. That little fake, it's just habits. Whenever you catch it and you feel your mark coming to you, wherever, if you could try and fake where his momentum's going, and boom, for a second or two, for a break opportunity to Jada, or let's say someone's going deep, you create these situations where you basically don't have a mark. Yeah, and that's Evan probably could have got that breakthrow off, but it was way easier because he did that little fake. This breakthrow went from being like sort of easy to super, super easy, and it was because of that fake. Now, one thing I don't really like Evan doing here, it's not the worst thing in the world, but whenever we've talked about once you throw, you can go down the rail, go deep to kind of clear space, which Evan does a lot, and I wish, more of us did that, to one, either get it or open up space. If you ever have to go, let's say Jada caught it like here, right? AKA Evan is on the boundary side of the where the disc now is. If Jada had caught it here, right, and Evan can go down the sideline of him, that would have been way more acceptable. If the disc is ever to the sideline of you, you going down here, it takes kind of a while to develop, and you're potentially cutting off any action that is going to go to this side. And with Jada, or anyone for that matter, with the disc being over here, we've talked about in the past where like it's very hard and not very advantageous, way too high risk to throw anything over here. So really all we have is the deep space and this under on the same side of the field. So Evan going down, having to go down here kind of takes away the under, and then eventually takes away the deep space. Again, if Evan was going down the rail, he's kind of out of place, out of the way. But you can see how this play develops. We have, I think, Brad coming under. Let me watch it one time. So Brad could go a little deeper, drive a little bit deeper. So Brad makes I think this is Brad. I could be screwing this up. He makes the decision to come back under here. By the time you come under, and Jada has to look, analyze, make a decision. That takes time. By the time all that happens, you're going to be getting it here, and we gain like 3, 4, 5 yards. If Brad can drive deep, and still be threatening, this guy's going to go with you. Trust me, like they're going to go with you because they're thinking, I don't want to get beat deep. If Brad drives a little bit deeper, let's say to like here, now all of a sudden, the second you put a foot in the ground, Jada's had it for a second or two. He's had time to analyze, see where any potential poaches are, etc. If you change direction here and come under, now you're going to be getting it right around this white line, maybe even further, and we've gained 20 yards instead of 3 or 4 yards. This throw doesn't go up, but I'm just talking through that. After Brad comes under, I think this is Frizz. He does the perfect thing, right? One person under, the other person deep. And I think Frizz has Diego, one of the better defenders, but it doesn't matter, right? We're making good decisions other than Evan going down and kind of getting in the way. That's pretty good execution, right? And then lastly, we just probably just don't need to throw this. I'm pretty sure they're force middle. Yeah, so he's backhand. I'd have to. They're either just backhand or force middle. But yeah, this is the as soon as all right. So the decision throw. I might be a little late on that. I don't think this is going to Evan. I can't. This isn't the best picture quality, but I'm pretty sure Jada's not throwing it to Evan into this face. I'm pretty sure it's going to Frizz. Again, a step, maybe a step and a half. Um, and, you know, Jay Frizz's average, above average speed. And like I said, I think this is they're, one of the better, quicker guys. Um, yeah, you can see how he, goes past. That's probably just not the throw to be making. Or if you make it, throw a big pump, throw a flick pump fake, and then rear back. And if you do want to throw it deep, maybe throw a backhand over into this space after you've thrown a flick fake, get your mark to bite over. Now you can throw, you got to get it over the stack, so you got to throw it a tiny bit high. But if you throw a flick fake, now you could potentially, I'm not condoning this because I just don't think we should throw it deep in this situation. But if you do want to throw it deep, throw that flick fake, and now you can throw a backhand to the center or over here where Frizz can better win that foot race. I think this guy Diego. I think he's already kind of on this side of the field, so there's just very little about this that screams that it's going to work. I know that was long-winded on analyzing that one little set, but there were a couple things to look at, good and bad. This Brad, this is a. I think if this is Brad, this is a good little poach here, right? This is his guy. He knows his guy's not going to do much, right? Um, he's looking. I mean, a step or two quicker, we get a little block there, and then he recovers well, right? He quickly finds his guy. Luckily his guy didn't do much. Those are poaches we can kind of live with. Ooh, another little poach by Evan. Let's watch Evan. So he's got his guy. All right, so forget about we can talk about the poach, but like forget about the poach. Look where he is, right? He's here. He knows this is either going to go off. Let's say this dump goes off here and he catches it somewhere in here. He knows that this guy coming into this space is going to be the next thing. Or if this guy goes upline, again, this space is going to be the thing he has to defend. So he's fronting his person. He's far too many of us back this. We're close to our person. We have a hand on our person, but far too many of us back this person. And we're basically just giving this up. And we do that because, like, I hate to use the S word, but we're scared, right? We're not used to, don't know how to phrase it. It's tough getting here and not seeing the disc, or people just like being here and giving this up because you can see everything. We like seeing everything, and if you're here on this side of them, you can see your person, you can feel your person, and you can see the disc. Here, it's a lot harder, but it's way more advantageous. So even if this poach doesn't happen, or even if this throw doesn't happen, this is great setup for taking this away. Because if this guy goes deep, we can go with him, or he'll help. He'll go through the stack and you can call pick. This is good setup defense. Forget about the poach. That's very, it's a good poach too, but I kind of couldn't care less about the poach. I care about his defense before that. I like these. I like the little quick movement. Watch when EJ gets it right. While he could have thrown a big fake here, backhand fake to move his mark. The good thing he looks downfield and he realizes, wow, we're still setting up. We kind of, we just got the disc, so it's kind of a fast break, but we just haven't formed yet, right? We're getting close to the end zone. He realizes nothing's about to develop, so he just moves it, right? So far too many people sit here and wait 6 seconds and nothing develops, and then we have to throw it in a high pressure dump situation that stalls 7 or 8. EJ can quickly realize in about a second and a half, all right, nothing's going to develop here. I just need a moving and change the point of attack. He quickly sees it. It seems so simple, but we have far too many people that sit there and hold it for 5 seconds. Let's see what he does here. Nice pump fake. That tells him, hey, Dan, you're not open. Goes negative 45. Pump fake, but the guy's far off. Yeah. That's fine. Negative 45. Yeah, ooh, that's fine. Go up line. This is clock. Up line. Pump fake. Yep. Perfect. Right. So Evan goes up line. He finds this. He realizes his person, and we're pretty close to the boundary, but he realizes his person is too close to the foreside, too close to the boundary. So instead of, we always teach. So he just threw this to EJ. We always teach go up line and then clear out, essentially back to the stack. But like that's kind of sort of what he's doing. I don't think he's going to be clearing here if he doesn't get it because he hopefully sees the dump. But this just shows you, cut hard. If you get it, cool. But even if you don't get it, cut hard out, but like cut with your eyes. Evan realizes, hey, instead of me putting my head down, looking at the ground like a lot of us do, we always think the ground's going to be not there. The ground's always there. So stop staring at it. Instead of Evan putting his head in the ground, he just clears and realizes, like, hey, throw this little 4-yard throw. As soon as he gets it, where's his mark? In no man's land. Where should his mark be? His mark should be forcing flick. So I don't think it happens, but if and when Evan does get in here, he should know and probably does know that, like, hey, I'm not gonna have a mark for 2 seconds. Let's get it to the break side. I mean, look where his mark was. You can kind of see him point. You can kind of see Evan pointing, saying, "Hey, I want something here because my mark's not there." As soon as the mark is there, he goes. He gets rid of it. Again, he does the same thing. He goes up line and he's clearing, but watch, he clears with his eyes and he's, that's the throw we just hit. Like, it's fine pump faking it. Like, I'm never gonna be mad at someone pump faking and saying, hey, that's not a good enough decision. But we could have easily hit this again, right? And his mark's nowhere. But that's fine. We don't. We hit this around. EJ comes negative 45. I think at this point, Evan's getting kind of tired. Evan should, if Evan's got a little bit more in the tank, Evan should come back out here. As soon as TD catches it, should come out here. I think this is just fatigue setting in, saying like, hey, I'm tired. So I think this is Brad that comes in. Negative 45, little give and go. He stops in the negative space, comes back. Unconventional a little bit, but EJ normally should go back. All right, this is pretty good stuff here. And the best part about this, and I know what happens, we end up scoring. The best part about all of this is these two guys and then Evan. They never, no one, Evan kind of sort of broke a jog, but like EJ and TD, like I don't think they ever go faster than a slow jog. And I'm not picking on them for that. I'm proving that like playing smart and slow is oftentimes better than fast and dumb. These guys are basically walking around like slightly faster than a walk, and you know roasting these guys. Um, anyways, so hit this dump. EJ should typically come back for a negative 45, but look what his person is. Like, it'd kind of be dumb. It's typically normally dumb to go to your person, all right? So EJ's like, I'm just going to go up line, and hopefully TD will see, and we can hit this little inside throw, which is exactly what happens. TD should go up line. He gets in phone booth, but that's fine. EJ goes up line, puts a foot in the ground, and it's just like that thing that Evan did once or twice, right? He goes to foot line, does a little S cut. Let's watch TD. Yeah, this is such a perfect little 20 throw score. Watch TD. Watch this fake. Y'all see that little fake? It was a lefty high release, nothing fake. Like, I'm picking on TD, but like one of the ugliest, dumbest, unbelievable fakes. I didn't believe he was going to throw that. But look at his mark. His mark, like, no, don't throw this four-side throw. And watch what his mark does. His mark ends up in no man's land, and that is what allowed the good thing, the break throw, to score. This just shows you well-timed fakes. Watch it again. Like, watch his mark. Like, it doesn't even always have to be believable, but if you can throw momentum fakes right when your guy's getting there, it just so many good things happen. That was a very good, slow, methodical end zone rep for the D line. Probably one of the best we've seen all year. All right, looks like we got a little zone here. I'd like to. I think this is Jackson. I'm assuming this is 2-3-2 or some form of that, maybe grits. I'd like to see Jackson here. If this guy throws a 60-yard deep throw, it's not going to be perfect, and you can still make a play. So I'd like to see Jackson here. And then we've got 3 people kind of guarding one, definitely 2 people guarding one. So I want this person, here. That person, maybe AJ, I think, he's fine there because he's got to defend that person in his space. But I'd like to see us accordion more. Then, yeah, that finally ended up happening. Okay, I'm assuming this is 2-3-2. So we have our two deeps, right? We don't. Let's say Jackson started on this side and Achilles. I'm assuming this is Achilles and this is Jackson. Let's say we started the point and Jackson was like, "All right, I'm going to be the left side," and Achilles said, "All right, I'm going to be the right side." You don't always have to stay on the left and the right. So like here, Jackson's clearly the deeper of the two, and Jackson's clearly on the break side of the field right now, the right side of the field. Achilles could just switch with him, right? Now Jackson, for the foreseeable future, is going to be on the right side, safety, and Achilles, who is in the middle, really on the left side of the middle of the field, he can take 5 steps and come over here and be effective. But watch what happens. They think, oh, I've got to be on the right. Oh, I've got to be on the left. So you see Achilles recover, and then Jackson, we just doing way too much. Like that took forever for us to do. If we just switch, it makes our jobs a lot easier, and we don't lose any advantage, right? So just stay there. Again, this person, I think it's AJ. You're this wing, right? You're protecting this. There's no one over there, so you're already at the half field line, so you have pinched in a good bit, but you could almost do it even more. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? You don't want to go too far. I actually kind of like where he is. And then as soon as people come in your space, you're kind of the owl, right? You're there. You're realizing you need to defend the space. Try to just always have 360 vision. It's super hard to do, but a little bit better 360 vision. You see this guy, you go with them, and maybe you. I know we end up getting, ends up being out of bounds, and we get the disc, but we kind of just got lucky there with a bad throw. Ivy brings the disc in. I think the rule is you can bring it in, but you have to put it on the ground. I think it's 3 yards off the sideline. So Ivy is allowed to put it essentially where this guy is, just for rules reference. I'm pretty sure that's the rule. Let's try to get this off the sideline. Yep, perfect. Yep, perfect. Eho going. Yep, perfect. Yeah, yeah. Again, this is really good. We do not have to obsess going here because look where all the defenders. Defender, what is he defending? There. What is he defending? There. They're all on the right side, right? The correct side, all trying to defend that North Carolina logo. But if we can get it on the other side of those people, like we do, look, they're all out of position. All right, easy frisbee. Josie goes up line, that's fine. Eho should strike across. Yeah, he could strike across, but I think he saw that developing. Somebody should go up line. Breakthrough. I think that's just a hand block. Yeah, as soon as that, look, Mark, where should he be? He should be there. He's there. We do the right thing. This person, maybe Casper, I think, is going. Without the hand block, I think this is either a score or next to a score. All right, so let's learn. I'm going to pick on Casper. I've done this a couple times at practice. So watch Casper. Is that? I think it's Casper. So Casper goes up line, doesn't get it. He's clearing back to the middle. Watch his head. You see his head go down, right? He didn't even make the mistake. If he would have made the mistake, his head would have gone down harder and longer, right? But and not picking on. I am picking on Casper, but a lot of us do this. If we make a mistake, don't freaking put your head down and pout, right? Who gives a crap? Or no one's perfect, right? Like, forget about it. Like, be mad later. Casper doesn't even make this mistake, but he puts his head down, he pouts, and watch what his guy does. Puts his head down, pouts, and I don't think it goes, but like, look, like Achilles, I think ends up helping out, but like this again, good teams. I'm not saying UNCW is not a good team; they are a good team, but good to great teams are gonna, with no mark especially, and assuming a good thrower's picking it up, good teams are going to murder us because we put our head down. And I'm not saying Casper necessarily has to go with that guy, but right here, if Casper's heads up, Casper can realize, hey, crap, this guy's roasting me, and he can say, help deep, help deep, help deep. And Achilles, no, this is Eho, I think. If Casper sees that, he can say, help deep, and then, you know, Eho is even with him, maybe even better. Now Eho can go pick him up, and we kill that potential huck, right? Um, we've got to stop fouling. I know we're getting into zone, right? And it's kind of a weird situation. We're not playing man defense, but still, like a good team, Brown, North Carolina, NC State, like some really good teams. They are going to even Duke, right? Bert's picking that up, and he's hucking that. Um, get fortunate here with a throwaway. So yeah, as soon as I'll try to pause it a little bit better. As soon as that throw goes to the hat guy, let me back it up. All right, so soon. All right, so right here, we were in a 2-3-2. This is a mark, this is a mark, our mid, and our two wings. As soon as that throw goes here, Eho's busting butt to eventually set the mark. I think this is Chin. Chin knows he's a wing. He's never gonna mark in 2-3-2. The only two people that are mark are the two markers, right? So he knows Eho's going to the mark. Chin at this point in time, or anyone in this position, like this is high alert. This guy 1,000% is going to catch it, and then where is he gonna throw his potential next throw that could be dangerous? Look at all that space, right? He's not gonna throw it over here. He's not gonna throw it deep. He's not gonna if he throws it backward, that's fine. If and when he catches that, he's gonna be looking right in here, right? And Chin, what's your job, right? To defend right in here. Are you there? No. Is that fine? Yeah. Like you were in probably good position before this, but the disc moves faster than we can. What you need to do as soon as that, like literally now, as soon as that disc is in the air, you need to be one running to this area because that's the part we need to defend. But you need to be we don't defend space, we defend people in the space. So as soon as that goes up, do a quick 360 as you're running, you'll quickly find this guy, and for the next 2 to 5 seconds, you are not guarding this area, right? You're not guarding this area. You're guarding this guy who is going to that area. If you watch, Chin just kind of guards, not nothing, right? He's guarding the space, but he's staring at the thrower, right? He's staring at this thrower and basically not taking away anything, right? He's like going to like be essentially do what Eho does. This guy's not going to throw it to nobody. He's going to throw it to a human, right? So don't go over and again, you're not going to be the mark. So like you're wasting your time running to him. Go to the space you're supposed to defend and don't defend the space, defend the person, right? Again, we get fortunate here, but good teams are going to catch it here, and then one or two throws later, they're going to score. We've gotten a couple turns here and there, but like we've been pretty fortunate. I don't want to say lucky. I don't want to use the L word, but we've gotten kind of lucky on these turns. We don't need to get a big chest and think we've earned these. But with a couple small adjustments, we can either prevent these throws or earn blocks. Okay, starting off, I didn't hear the play call, so I'm fine with the setup. I'm not, but like we can clearly see where the middle of the field is. Right, I don't mind this dump here, but unless they play calls specifically something, ideally I'd like to see us set up more in the middle. We'll see what happens. That was blocked, but we get away with it. So yeah, that was fine because we were trying to get into him, so we kind of all knew that. Yeah, this must have been a dump and go deep. EO clearing, that's fine. Like to hit something out here. Everybody see what happened? How did he get that breakthrough off? Little flick fake and boom. Oh, it ended up being a turn, but still, right? You could almost do it. You could almost. I know this is nitpicky, and we've worked on this. You could almost do it quicker. Do it right now, right when Diego's getting to your mark. It's a little delayed. I don't think that causes the turn. Again, I don't think this is pouting, but like good teams, they're gonna murder this. This is a one throw score. I don't know why he pump faked it. Another pump fake. I'm assuming we're in man here. The second this happens, again, I'm not there. We don't have audio, but like either a coach on the sideline or anyone on this field or a captain should be saying "man, man, man" as loud as they can. Man, force flick. The mark needs to be nice and flat or flick. We should not have the idea of that we're going to get into a zone here because that's pretty hard to do. Again, I don't have audio, but it kind of looks like some of us for the first 3 or 4. Yeah, we're finally pointing now, but I think for those first 3 or 4 seconds, it kind of looked like we were trying to get into zone. All right, so watch here. We worked on this week at practice, the ceiling, right? Setting up your cut. Watch how he sets this up on Toasty, right? Pushes, boom. Not a foul. I think they end up turning this because it's a bad throw. Oh, he gets fouled on the throw. But everybody watch him, right? He doesn't foul Toasty. He doesn't do a ton of move, but you can just see he makes that one big step. And I don't think Toasty plays bad defense, but watch the separation. I mean, and it's perfectly timed. He waited for the thrower to be set to where everything could be in momentum. And I know he's fast and whatnot, but still, that's just a really um, well timed break side cut. Fouled on the throw. Yeah, he went to do it, and this time he did it a different way. He didn't get rewarded, but watch how he goes this way, takes a jab to the foreside, and then goes break. Just a slightly different version of what he just did. Yeah, he didn't fully commit to ending the cut, but you can kind of see how that look. I think he kind of quits here, but like let's say he drives even harder, he's probably going to make the same separation he did earlier with a slightly different move. So you don't have to do the same move every time. This shows you how you can have nuances in your cuts. He's kind of in no man's land. He points to him to be the front. I think they score there. But yeah, let's see what they did. Right, I think AJ's on here. AJ doesn't play bad D. What's this guy do? Throw and go. AJ does nothing wrong, and AJ busts his butt. But this just shows you the advantage. Watch. Throw. Yeah. AJ reacts immediately. AJ does not wait a half a second to react. And AJ's fast. And that just shows you how throwing your mark's already on the bad side of you. Um, it just shows you like it's so easy if you just do it. It's really, really hard to defend. I think this is our O line. It looks like so. Maybe this is like maybe we turned it. Some lost film somewhere in there. I like how this is bad offense, but sort of good defense. I guess those go hand in hand. Look where they all are. They're all on this side of the field, right? Instead of them kind of being, assuming they're trying to do a vert, instead of a lot of them being here, like look at them. They're all over here. This is good. We want them to play in small spaces if we can. Now they start to spread out a little bit better. Oh, yeah. I think this guy gets rewarded too. All right, so let's learn here. Okay, we're forcing flick, I assume. I think this is Noah. Noah definitely needs to hear this with a couple other people. Last week we did the clock drill, and I think it was Noah, Chin, and like maybe 2 or 3 other guys that were consistently getting broken on the. We were forcing flick in the clock drill, and their offender was consistently getting pretty easy backhands off. And the reason being was they were forcing flick and they were consistently like biting on the tiniest little flick fake. We need as a team we need to realize if you are forcing flick, you're rarely gonna get a flick hand block. Very rarely. What is gonna happen is they're gonna go to throw a flick, you're going to bite on it, and then they're going to fake it, and they're going to hit you. They're going to throw an easy backhand around. It happens a ton, right? So if put this in your head and memorize it. If you are throwing flick and your person throws a flick, that's a win. Like we're forcing flick, like it's literally in the name. Force flick. Force them to throw flick. Did you force them to throw flick? Yes. Okay, you did your job. We've got to stop thinking we're going to block every flick on a force flick. But anyways, I'm not even going to talk about that, or I didn't even want to talk about that on this clip. I wanted to talk about watch what he does after he dumps it. Watch what he does. He just goes deep. He doesn't really go down the rail per se, but this shows you. I think he's kind of one of their cutters, right? he caught it. He says, "All right, I'm gonna get rid of it in the first 2 or 3 seconds." It would have been even better if he goes down the rail, but he kind of goes to clear and realizes he's got a step or two on Noah. He realizes there's a ton of open space. He gets about 3, 4 yards of separation. He even puts up his hand saying, "Hey, hey, hey, hit me, hit me." And they hit him. I don't know if it's completed or not. Yeah, that's just if you're a cutter and you throw a dump towards the middle of the field and you're near the rail, you don't have to, but a very good option is just bust down that rail. One thing I love about our O line is, assuming this is force flick, we constantly get it to start the point on the break side of the field. That is definitely something I'd love to see us do a ton going forward. Um, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I'd like to, for Nate or anyone in this position that Nate's in, I'd like to give Prez just another half a second to like a second and a half before you make a decision. Um, Prez is coming out into this space. We know we and pretty much every team these days likes to do a butterfly. If we don't hit Prez here, try to wait a tiny bit longer to where you can give Prez or anyone in Prez's position here the opportunity to go deep. Because if this defender bites on this break side under and we can go deep, that's very advantageous for us. But Nate going deep, well, Prez didn't even end up going doing a butterfly cut, but let's assume that we all are going to start doing that. He actually does the right thing. I don't. He never looks back, but sometimes even without knowing where your defender is, sometimes you just have a feel for it, and that comes with playing and experience. But I'm assuming Prez just kind of felt that he is getting backed a ton and comes and gets this under, which is probably the best decision. But my point still stands. Let's try to wait just a little bit longer to where if Prez does go deep, because this guy is backing you. He was just basically being a safety for you and Prez. Again, this is exactly what happened on the last play that Wilmington did. Watch, Mike throws it. He's going down the rail. Goes his defender gets caught watching. Watch his defender. Watching, watching. My guy's not a threat. And then boom, all of a sudden we're throwing it deep. Let's look. I think it's so Nate clears under. Bender's clearing under just kind of on his own. I think Gavin's the one to watch here. I'm pretty sure Gavin kind of sees all this developing, and the worst thing in the world Gavin could do is either go deep and get in the way or like slowly push deep too far and get in the way. So Gavin does a pretty good job of kind of just doing nothing, keeping his guy occupied and allowing that deep space to stay, wide open for that throw and cut to be rewarded. A little bit of lost film. Okay, they were side stack. Pretty good defense here. Jada definitely knows where the disc is, and for the most part, he knows where his cutter is. Again, hey, watch this guy. There's a dump to the middle of the field. Watch what he does. Goes immediately down the field. Yeah. I don't know if he gets hit. Oh yeah, he does get it. I think. Yeah. Yep. It's like 3 points in a row. Watch, right? The guy threw it. Dan's not like being lazy, right? Dan's just kind of like, already threw it. My guy's not a threat. Dan hasn't done really anything wrong. And look at the separation that's already been created, right? Dan and anyone in Dan's position just thinks this guy's gonna like go to the middle of the stack so Dan can kind of catch a breather. So as this guy's clearing hypothetically to the middle of the stack, Dan kind of just does what everybody does, just kind of takes it easy. And then by the time he realizes, oh my guy might be a threat, it's over. And it's a good mark by Jada, right? Nice flat mark. Um, yeah, that's literally 3 points in a row. Two by them, one by us. Where Cutter um, throws a dump to the middle of the field and then bust deep, and I think all three of them got rewarded. Yeah, all three of them. I'd like to see us catch this pull, even if you have to sprint up, right? Catch it there. As soon as this is low, tell everyone go, 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 push, push, push. Um, it's not a big thing, but again, we're trying to get 3 to 10% better, and catching that and pushing everybody up is going to get us 3% better. Nice cut by Bender, just kind of can't be rewarded. I think they're backhand, so yeah, just a little too crowded, but nice cut. Let's watch Luke here. Yeah, this is where that angle, I think T-Cat wants to throw it, but the angle to hit Luke here is just slightly too difficult. So because this guy's so tight, Luke could almost just come right down this blue line. Because I think this is like a stall. I think right now, as I pause it, it's stall like 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range. So, starting to creep up. Instead of come out here with a guy right on your hip, because that's just, if that slows, if the throw is slightly off, this guy gets a layout block and they get jacked up and they score 2 throws later. If you come out here, I'd almost like to see Luke just come straight and get it. If he comes straight down this blue line, he gets it pretty easily. Just because the throw, it's like a 5 yard throw, and that's a heck of a lot easier to hit with a guy on your on your hip. There, here you have separation, so it doesn't matter. It's like there you made a little good jab move and you had 2, 3 yards of separation. That's where you can take that angle. But if he's right on your hip, you kind of just need to take a more direct line. Working it down the break side. Again, this is fine. Going down the rail. We need to bust harder, I think. Just get. He ends up getting it. I'd almost like to see him just go and get out of the way. Oh, I don't know how Bender caught that. Not in, barely. Confusion, and we play. Nice poise here, because I'm pretty sure the stall got high. This is kind of, yes, this isn't our conventional offense, right? Do we have a stack and a dump? No, but like, I have to watch it again. I'm not too mad about this. Nice fake there. Like, the fact that he moved the mark is great. Um, yeah, it's kind of chaos, but it's kind of sort of controlled chaos. And it's the O line. The O line is definitely going to get a pass there because typically your O line's more of a veteran, experienced line, so they're going to be able to get away with being successful doing weird, unconventional stuff like that. If that was the D line, then a little bit more. We don't need to do that. Alert, alert. But for as crazy as that was, I didn't mind it too much. So this is just Alaska, right? He's clearing up, hitting there. We're force flick. We got. I know everybody knows, and Debo probably and Ivy and all the coaches probably already talked about this. But this redhead guy, he seems to be their dude. I mean, he's gone deep, left and right, over and over. Let's see how Dan plays D here. I'm assuming, did he catch it? Yeah, looks like it. Let's watch Dan's hips. Yeah, so like Dan had good positioning. I think Dan's where, the seconds leading up to this, I think Dan was in a good position where he could see, feel his defender or offender and see the disc. But you can see how this guy's driven kind of horizontally towards Dan, made him turn his hips. Dan's, you know, belly button, we'll call it, is pointing right towards the disc, and this guy has already made his decision to go deep. Dan's, a couple inches deep of him, but none of that matters. This guy is already, this guy is in the blocks, head down, ready to explode out and go deep, while Dan is in a crouched position, facing the wrong way. I'm not picking on Dan. This just shows you, one, how tough it is to play D, and two, how important your hips are and staying shuffling. Yeah, we just need Dan. Just, yeah, maybe there's some drills we can do or some ladder stuff. But if Dan just has slight quicker, for as quick and fast as Dan is on like a 40 or 20 or 70 yard sprint, Dan, I'm not picking on him. He's probably about average on the team or above average even. But Dan's hips, um, as he turns right to left to commit to going deep, you can kind of see how his hip turn is pretty slow. If we can speed that hip turn up, I'm assuming this guy like barely catches it because Dan's right there. But if we as a team and Dan in this situation can turn his hips quicker, um, maybe that gives him that last 12 inches of separation and he's closer and makes a play. Not bad D at all. Maybe going forward. Oh, I think he does get the D. I was assuming this whole time he scored. I'd love to know if Dan got the block there, or if the guy dropped it, or if the throw was bad. But my point still stands. What I was talking about. But I think maybe going forward, the next time we play this team, maybe we can back that guy because he definitely seems to be, you know, probably their best deep threat. A little scuba over the top. Is that are they? So he forced flick. This guy's backhand. I guess they were forced middle, but I think this guy goes flick. Yeah, maybe they're just all confused. This guy's flick-ish. Way to get it off the sideline, right? As soon as he gets it, I would love a, again, I'm going to beat a dead horse till we start doing it. And this is nitpicky. I'd love a, right when this guy gets to you, a big flick fake, right? That's going to make this potential backhand so much easier. But what I do love is, I think this is Dan, he catches it, he looks downfield. What's downfield? Nothing. What's going to develop in the next 4 seconds? Nothing. So he realizes that and says, all right, we are not dangerous on this side, and we are potentially screwed on the side. Let's move it. Let's get it off the sideline. And I think Evan's there to do that. Nice continue. This is perfect, right? This is the situation. All right, so he made the decision that hey, there's no cuts. I guess he saw that there's no cuts going over there and made the decision I can't throw it there. He quickly moves it. This is where you don't really need to throw a fake because to throw the fake is one to tell your cutter downfield, hey, no thanks, I'm going to go somewhere else. You can stop cutting. But two, most importantly, it's to move your mark further. So if his mark is really close, that's when we need to throw a pump fake because that mark is going to bite on that pump fake, and then that's what creates the separation. But in this case, Frizz realizes I don't need to create separation. My guy's 10 yards away from me. So here he catches it and immediately, look who is a defender, right? And he does the perfect thing. I know the throw's going to be slightly off, but he does the perfect thing. He sees that it's a roll. He drives towards his person. His person's trying to pick on it. He stays just for a half a second in this. We need a name for this. I don't. This middle area. I'll call it intermediate area. He stays here in case Evan can get that off. As soon as that opportunity passes, he puts a foot in the ground, drives up line. This guy has to turn his hip. Frizz doesn't, so Frizz should have the advantage. And if this just has slight better edge control outside in, lefty backhand outside in. If it just has a slight better throw. I know the poacher's coming, but he's not going to make that play if it's a good throw. We're one, easy throw from this just working. I doubt we score, right? He probably catches it a yard or two away, but maybe that was the problem. Maybe Evan's thinking, hey, let's milk this to score. Um, it's great if you can milk things, milk throws to get that last yard or two, but you never want to jeopardize, turning it over to do so. But that was good recognition by Frizz to realize, hey, I don't need to do anything to create separation. I've already got it. Oh, that's great. I was about to pick on. I think I've done. I love this, right? So I was about to pick on Evan for him not being in the right position, but he immediately turns and gets in the right position. Watch. He immediately gets there. Yeah. Pick called. Let's see if it's a. I guess Frizz called it. Let's see. So he's impeded there. I think it's within 10, but we're starting to get to where maybe you're outside of it. It's a good decision to say, hey, you keep it, I'll catch up. That's definitely the right decision. You're almost outside of the 10 feet, but I think it was fine. All right. That's smart. Preventing the break side. The one thing we've proved so far, I'll pause it and chat for a second. The one thing we've proven that we are 100% better at than UNCW at this point in the season is hitting these throws into the breakthrough, especially our O line. Our D line's pretty good at too, but our O line's been very good at, this guy drives deep and comes into this break space, right? Whether it's our mark or our defender, like we've just proven over and over again that we are better getting this throw off to this cutter than they are. So going forward, realize that is some advantage that we have over them. So, we could do more of it. Evan with a pretty good poach here, right? He's first off, he's in great position, right, defending this area, knowing that his guy's not going to go deep, so he doesn't have to guard the deep space. But at the last second, he also turns a little bit to his left, to where I think he's just planning to triangulate. I don't think he's really thinking about getting a poach. But at the last second, he turns and kind of almost gets more here, where he can see the disc and his person, and he almost gets a block. And then I think they end up switching. Yeah, and EJ does a good job of realizing, hey, Evan's coming over to my guy. I'm gonna quickly go to his guy, and they get it to him, but they've really gained nothing, and we almost got a block. Nice mark right there. Uh, good fake. Had to kind of respect it. I don't know. I don't know if we're flat and under or as good as active as EJ is there. I don't know what he's forcing. We'll see what Evan does. Yeah, flick, I guess. Uh, yeah, I think we're a flick. Yeah, I mean, this guy just lives in the deep space. I mean, yeah. So Dan's close here, but like, I think the next time we play them, we just need to be a little bit more even with him, if not just backing him. I mean, uh, I think he's gone deep like 5 or 6 times, it feels like. And they did actually end up scoring that one. Fast forwarding. Good pull. Um, I thought we were about to break this to Gavin. I'm surely the play calls to get it to press here. Like I had almost, you could almost even audible. It's fine. I think press gets it here, which is fine. But like again, the break space is so valuable. You could almost like if Gavin and Luke see each other here, we could almost just quickly audible. Like Gavin getting it over here. I know it's not the play, and we want to try and run the play if we can. But like I think Gavin getting over here is better than Prez over here. And you could swap those two names or Bender. Yeah, it doesn't really matter who's getting it. That just getting into the break space is so valuable. Nice under Mike going deep. Yeah, this we talked about this earlier. I forget. Oh, it was I talked about the hypothetical of it was in the same kind of position when Jada had it. He threw that flick deep, I think, to Frizz, and it didn't work out. We hypothetically talked about Jada throwing a big flick fake and then throwing the backhand out to this space where Frizz had a slightly better chance of getting to. This is exactly what Prez does, right? Flick fake moves the mark, and that makes that backhand that much easier. I think that's just a crap call, foul call. But yeah, if like Prez could sit here and do nothing and wait and wait and wait and probably still throw a backhand out to this space. But him throwing that tiny little flip fake moves it, takes his mark from there to about here, and it makes that backhand. Let's say the backhand's 85%. It bumps it up to 89% because you can get a nice. You just get a. It's just easier, right? So hypothetically, you should get a better throw off. It's those tiny little percentages. Yep. See how the mark bid on it? It's those tiny little percentages that add up. Um, so we've got a good vantage at this point. We've got a good vantage point of this. If you watch Mike, I think the guy's calling a foul. Mike saying with Mike's offhand, his left hand, he kind of like pushed off. You are entitled to your little bubble. So like, almost give yourself a hug, and then broaden your shoulders. Basically, those like 3 to 6 inches around your body, your bubble, we'll call it. Like you're entitled to that space. So if you watch, can I slow mo it? Oh, I can slow mo it. I just learned this. Um, if you watch Mike, like he doesn't extend. He just jumps up, right? At after Mike catches it, he might extend, but like that's hard after the catch has been made, and that's mainly probably just because of balance thing. But yeah, this 100% is not a foul. I forget how this is resolved, but the second part of this is if you're in Mike's position and the guy really in any position, any like don't lose your cool. I don't think Mike does lose his cool by his body language, but like if anyone ever calls a foul, a pick, or whatever, like don't lose your cool. If you lose your cool, just trust me, it's rarely going to work out. I think Mike doesn't want to go to the observer. Yeah, that just sucks. That's not a foul. But yeah, if you just keep your cool, a lot of times you can win arguments and kill them with kindness. God, that wasn't a foul, but that's okay. We live on. Nice big swing, changes the angle of attack. TCAT, this is fine. So once Prez is kind of clearing into this space, TCAT coming back into this area is a perfect decision. He just needs to do it harder, and he probably gets rewarded. Um, I don't think Luke ever. Oof, that could have been a turn. Yeah, this is kind of on TCAT, right? Gavin, I think he went deep and kind of came under in here, and he's going to continue because he's a handler. Like typically, if you're a cutter or not one of our better throwers, you would kind of stop here and go to the front, and not starting about now, you wouldn't be a threat. But like any handler and Gavin, um, you know, is probably wanting to come back in here. TCAT needs to. I think TCAT started from over here. As you're coming, TCAT, the onus is kind of on him to have that vision. One, like TCAT necessarily doesn't have to look over and see Gavin, but like TCAT, like what do we always do? We're 99% of the time we're looking at the thrower. TCAT should see Luke, and I'm pretty sure I'm not right there next to him, but like I'm pretty sure Luke is just staring down Gavin this entire sequence. So TCAT should at this point see Luke. Luke's not looking at TCAT. Luke's looking at something, and TCAT should look at Gavin and say, like, okay, Gavin's there. He's the priority for the next 2 seconds. Where's Gavin coming? Oh, he's coming in this space. I should probably stay out of that space. So TCAT should either come immediately to like the front or come out to this space. Again, we are very fortunate that that's not a turn or a big collision. We'll watch it one last time. So like TCAT's looking at Luke, looking at Luke. Luke's never looking at TCAT. Um, yeah, TCAT's just got to get himself and his defender out of the way. Gavin waits for that to clear, right? That's a pretty good delay. Gavin could throw it, but he waits, and then he waits for this defender to get out of there. That was nice. We should be getting close to red zone. This just shows you how like Prez has a pretty good cut here, but it's just so hard to cut downfield when we're in the red zone. Let's pick, yeah. I feel like at this point this is red zone in my opinion. So um, Noah should almost just yeah, like even if he gets rewarded, he gets it here in a high traffic area. It's not really advantageous for us. So I think team wide, this isn't a crazy strong opinion, but and I'd love to hear the other coaches' thoughts, but I think we could afford to get into red zone quicker than we do. Let's watch. Yeah, this is not all right. This is nice. He throws a pump fake. He throws a hammer pump fake specifically, saying, "Hey Bender, thanks, but no thanks." Um, a lot of times that fake is a trigger to swing it. Gavin swings it. I think he hits Luke, and then boom. We've talked about it 100 times. Once you get at that break side, look, we're all. This guy's kind of out of position because I think Noah just got stopped running. But like, look at all the defenders. Look, we're all, it's just easy peasy. And then Prez clears, realizes he has steps on this guy and just finishes it out. That was nice. That all started with Gavin just hitting a 10, 15-yard swing. Almost collision. This might be, this is a big point. Apparently we got Prez, Gavin on a D point. Eho poaching a little bit. Eho realizing his guy's not a threat, poaches out. Nice. That's fine, right? And Eho does a pretty good job poaching, and he does a great job recovering, right? We don't really lose anything because he busts butt and establishes that mark. Now they're invert. Let's watch Gavin here. Yeah, well, so this time this guy doesn't cut as hard, which helps Gavin. And this guy's a little deeper than he has been. So like this guy's pretty deep to be making a deep cut. So Gavin's probably realizing like, hey, if he goes deep, like it might go, but that's a pretty long throw. So Gavin's a little bit less weary of a deep threat right now. But watch how Gavin never really commits his hips. He kind of just stays neutral as long as he can. And then as soon as the guy has made a cutting decision, that's when Gavin commits to defending. Again, the guy doesn't cut as hard as he has been, but Gavin does a pretty good job of keeping his hips neutral. We got a stall 9, punt. I kind of forget what happens there. That's a good job. So the disc is in the air. Prez is coming, but it's kind of gonna probably be on these two guys. Gavin sees it. He sees it's coming outside in, right? So it's probably gonna come on this path. So Gavin knows he has to go to this path, but I'm pretty sure we can watch Gavin. He kind of goes to his defender, seals his defender out, and yeah, see how he puts a body on him, drives him, knows where the disc is the whole time. So spots the disc, spots his defender, goes back and looks at the disc, and then stays with the disc the rest of the way. I'd love to have the rest of that on film, but too bad. Yeah, we get the block. Was it potential stall? What was the call? Not sure what the call was there. Oh, I remember what it was. It was a foul on the dump, and they were trying to figure out the timing of it. That's what it was. Yeah, so we can watch the foul. Yeah, it is pretty close. If the foul happens before the throw and Evan doesn't contest it, it goes back to the thrower. Um, but I think the observers kind of came in and said, one, it had nothing to do with the play, and then two, it kind of happened right when the throw was being made, or maybe even after. So um, it's tough to overturn the outcome of the call when you're not sure of the timing of it. And with a nice under power position, nice. So yeah, in three throws, not only have we gone halfway down the field, we've gone from this far out of frame cone to all the way over here. We have changed the angle of attack. It's great offense so far. Going down the break side again. Again, we've been pretty good at that this year. Nice. All right. While this dump, while it would be great to get this dump, more towards the middle of the field, Gavin does a pretty good job of realizing, like, hey, there's value in not it being over here for the next 3 or 4 throws. So I think it's Achilles or someone, whoever it is, does a good job of being open. But this is a great decision to just quickly move it again, changing the angle of attack um, to the middle of the field. And now we can potentially hit that. You always want the disc always wants to continue the momentum that it's in, right? I learned this in my hustle days from Miranda. The disc, as an offense, you want the disc to just continue to go in the direction that it's going until you can't anymore. So like now we've kind of run out of going in this direction, right? So now we literally go the opposite direction. Go the opposite direction until we run out of room and run out of chances, right? Um, that's a very good general flow of what the disc should do. We kind of get lucky here We get lucky, one, because this disc is kind of floaty, and two, Dan's very fast. This should be a turnover. If it's not, if this is a slightly not floaty throw and Dan's a slightly slower person, this is 100% a turn. I think Dan is coming more of a flat horizontal cut instead of like an away. We'll watch Dan. I think Dan's just literally going kind of on this path, and Prez thinks he's going kind of back to the back cone, but like maybe I don't know how we can work that out. It's probably just a big pump fake because I mean, while he does have a step, we've done all this good work to get it down here. Everyone's been wide open. UNCW late in the game, they look like they're pretty tired. Like the last thing we want to do is like throw it to a guy who's 1 yard open and turn it over when we've been just roasting their people, getting everything. So again, we were pretty fortunate. It was great offense, but we were pretty fortunate on that last throw. Again, I love the defender here, right? If they want to lose 5, 10 yards, let them, right? Be right in here. As long as once he gets it, you can set up a good mark. But I like that. Takes away all the downfield. Ideally, we haven't worked on it, but ideally, UNC does this a lot. If this guy gets it kind of even, or maybe even on the break side, Casper just needs to go and pick him up, and then TD picks him up. Unless it's a huge mismatch situation that we need to like keep the matchups, which might be the case, right? Casper's I think on Diego, like that's kind of what we want. But Casper could come and become the new mark, and then TD picks up that guy. It prevents that throw. Um, it prevents that breakthrough because TD's kind of in no man's land because he was poaching off earlier. Nice seal, Jada. This may be a foul, but this shows you how like this has nothing to do with what this comment has nothing to do with Casper. This is just kind of putting your shoes in Diego's position. This just shows you how like sometimes when the defender is close to you, it can be a good thing. Typically people think like, oh, the defender's real close to me. It's going to be real tough to get open. Like when a defender is really close to you, all you need is one good, quick, well timed move, and you can create a ton of separation. If the defender is giving you a little cushion, sometimes it can be even harder. But like you can see how Casper playing really good tight D, and in one move, Diego's made separation. So if you're a cutter, realize just because the guy's like super close to you isn't the worst thing in the world. Casper does a good job of forcing him into the phone booth, right? Got to seal this. Nice big hands. That was nice. All right, so while EJ originally does a good job of getting here, right when you get here, EJ's mistake is he kind of immediately comes like right on this path. I'll try to, I keep forgetting I can zoom in. So EJ's done a good job of sealing, and I know his hands are down now, but his hands have been flapping, trying to be bigger than he is. That's great. EJ needs to come in at like more of a this angle as he goes and sets the mark, almost like a curved angle, basically saying you're not getting this backhand off, this backhand around. Instead, EJ comes in at this angle, right? And the guy's able to get a backhand around off, and I think they score or come really close to scoring. If EJ comes around here, they don't get the backhand off. Maybe he gets the flick off, right? And maybe they still score. But we've talked about in the past, if we're going to give a breakthrough off, we want to give off the inside uh, throw because it's a lot harder. Why? Because that's where, I think this is Dan, that's where our defender is. Our defender is not going to win the race over here. But if this inside throws off, Dan might be able to get a hand in. So good job sealing, but try to, when you go to the mark, try to continue to stay nice, like a bubble, bubble it around, curve it around. Alrighty, Vert, trying to, kind of a set play. They do a good job of capping, right? This guy's already in position, yeah. That's fine, hit the dump. Again, I would like to see, this is nitpicky, and maybe I know Ivy's done the offense, and he's done a pretty good job because the offense has been great so far this year. I'd like to see T-Cat like especially if this guy's poaching, like get out here, right? I'd love for they got the poacher was just right here, right? I'd love, I think, for T-Cat to catch it more over here, right? One, it changes the angle of attack, and two, let's say when T-Cat catches it, the mark gets to him and sets up in 1 second. Let's hypothetically agree to that. If he catches it here and the disc is thrown, with a tiny bit of zip on it, now the mark has to recover more. So T-Cat, instead of not having a mark for 1 second, he's going to have not have a mark for 1.5 or maybe even 2 seconds. The more time we can maximize, the more opportunities we can do to maximize our time without a mark is just advantageous for us. And this even proves my point even more. And it seems to be, trying to rewind it, it seems to be force middle. So he's force flick, and he's about to be forced back in. So if you, like, hypothetically, let's say he caught it over here, he wants to force back in. So he's got to get on the backhand side of you. So he's got to go even further. So, like, I kind of lucked into this, but, like, definitely if they're force middle, you want to be even wider because he's got to go to this side of you, and that takes even longer. Let's see if they are force middle. He's kind of, yeah, he's flat to flick. Press clearing out. That's fine. Gavin came. Ooh, close. Hits it. Ooh, I'm surprised I didn't hit that. Yeah, I would. Yeah, marks on the ground. I think that's enough open for me, especially with the mark on the ground. If the mark's got a nice good, you want to Evans. I This is going off of my memory. I think Evans kind of coming in at this angle to where like you would have to throw it probably here instead of here. If the mark's up and if he has a good mark here, it's tougher to throw it here. But I mean, the mark's getting up off the ground. Gavin should be able to hit Evan pretty comfortably here. That's probably what I'd like to see. Instead, we throw this huck that just isn't the right press shove that guy. Our press is normally pretty docile, but all right. So the decision, I paused it a little early, but Gavin's pretty much throwing it now. Um, I think the throw goes here, so it's one the throw is poorly kind of executed because if anything, the throw needs to kind of finish here. I think it's just way too late. Gavin probably has the biggest flick on the team. If he doesn't, he has the second, tied for first. But I mean, Prez is 35 yards, right? This, right before you throw it, he's 35 yards and going deep. So, I mean, I'm just doing rough math, going off of my experience of watching and throwing. I mean, this throw is going to have to be at least 60 yards because I mean it's going to take a couple seconds to get there, and he's pretty fast, and he's only going to be running deep even more. So like, I mean, he hypothetically a perfectly thrown disc would land like in the middle of the end zone, and in perfect conditions, maybe in power position, but like I think it's kind of cold at this tournament. This just is a long way to say this just shouldn't go up. Yeah, even with Gavin having one of our bigger arms, it's the deep cut is just starting too deep for that to be rewarded. And he wasn't really even open. So if he was like wide open, if his guy fell down or he had him by 5 steps, I could understand it. But like I was even with him. Um, So I've talked about the how we're better at hitting the break side. I think we're better conditioned, right? This guy has a perfect opportunity in a second to come under and then butterfly, and he doesn't. And I think he doesn't. I don't think it's because he doesn't know how to do it. I think he's just tired. I think we should use this as confidence going forward. I think we have better disc skills. I think we have better vision, better like field awareness, and I think our fitness is better too. So this guy should bust deep, and he just doesn't. Look at him. He's just jogging. I think he's just tired. This is the foul. I'd like to do this, and I've already watched this once, but I don't. I don't think it's the worst call in the world, but I don't think it was a foul. So Gavin's here uh, with this under. He's in pretty good position, watching. He you can see his offender and watch the thrower creeping out into the creep lane, watching the thrower, and he just bites on this. Um, yeah, it actually might be a good foul call. It's close. I don't think it's a bad call, no matter what is called, because not to use a overly used term, but it's a bang bang. It's tough to know what happens, but um, it's impossible to know from here. But I think the guy, I don't know, it's close. I think the UNC Wilmington guy gets on his hand on it first. I don't know. It's tough. Um, Again, the worst thing you can do is like get heated and lose your cool. If you're calm there and the other guy's not, like the observers see that, like everyone's like, just trust me, like, and it's tough. I was in college too. Your testosterone's high. You're competitive. It's very hard to stay calm in these situations. But the more you can stay calm, I promise you, you'll win more. I don't want to call them arguments, but you'll win more arguments on the frisbee field if you just stay calm. Anyways, they're kind of in a hodgepodge. Oh, this is a turn. Yeah, just never lies. Yeah, so it's good D by Luke. At the last second, Luke turns to just watch, right? And that's why he gets it. All right, so we should be in red zone, right? We're just out of the red zone, but Gavin gets it in the phone booth. Some dancing. Yeah, so I'd like Gavin danced a little bit right before this, but a little bit too much dancing. Not, yeah, just maybe be a little bit more decisive because, yeah, and then, yeah, we end up scoring, but man, that could have not been a score. Make sure my quality's good. That's fine. We're almost done, anyways. Hell, we are done. Yeah, I'll watch this last play one more time. Yeah, Gavin dances maybe one time too many, but does eventually get open. No, that's a fine. That's fine. I'm out of dancing. We just need to make Luke needs to go up line one step earlier. So backfield, just go up line, right? You getting it there isn't the most important thing in the world. Us getting it off the sideline is. So if you go, that allows TCAT. Because look, yeah, yeah. Let me if Luke goes open or upline quicker, TCAT eventually is going to get open in the phone booth, and that's an easy throw. But I guarantee the stall's getting high, and that's why Gavin kind of like takes a high risk kind of punt. Um, he does that because it's getting high, and he's like, "Crap! I just got to put it out into space and pray." If Luke goes upline quicker, we hit TCAT and we don't get into this dicey situation where we're having to cross our fingers with Evan towing the line. Yeah. All right, that's UNCW film study. Again, I hope that helped. Yeah, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Peace.